Ethos of Silence.
A veteran podcast aims to amplify the voices of veterans, creating a safe space for authentic conversations about their experiences, challenges, and triumphs. We seek to break the stigma surrounding mental health and foster community support, resilience, and understanding. Through storytelling, expert insights, and candid discussions, we strive to inspire healing, promote awareness, and empower veterans on their journeys.
Welcome. All right. You ready to jump into something?
Man, I'm ready as I'll ever be.
All right. Let's find a good chapter to jump into in this ethos. East of Eden.
December 4th, 2024.
No. Don't want the Adam and Eve patches. Not trying to bring that direction with you. Alexander the Great. There we go. We'll go in Ethos 2.0 and jump to this chapter about Alexander the Great. All right. Welcome back to Ethos of Silence.
Welcome back.
Tim here hosting. I got Kevin here with me, the unofficial co-host.
Buenos dias. I am the co-host.
Let's go ahead and jump into Ethos of Silence 2.0. Got a little passage to read about Alexander the Great.
Alexander the Great. Lord of the battlefield.
Lord of the battlefield, huh?
Alexander the Great, toward the end of his life, frequently stayed up all night, sacrificing to the god fear. Why? Because the ancient way of war was characterized by fear. God fear? Sacrificing to the god fear. I guess that's god of fear.
Yeah,
fear.
God of fear. Almost like the Vikings sacrificing different gods. So yes. Alexander the Great had a belief of sacrificing to ensure victories, I guess.
Makes sense. Fear is their greatest adversary in battle, so you have to overcome the fear. And yeah.
If you give it a worthy sacrifice, your warriors won't have any fear going in the battle.
Because the ancient way of war was characterized by fear.
Okay.
The warrior ethos evolved as a counterpoise to fear. In the era before gunpowder, all killing was of necessity, done hand to hand. From a Greek or Roman warrior to slay his enemy, he had to get so close that there was an equal chance that the enemy's sword or spear would kill him. This produced an ideal of manly virtue. Andrea, in Greek, Andreia. It's like my son's name, Andre. That prized valor and honor as highly as victorious. Be brave, my heart, wrote the poet and mercenary Archilochus. I think I'm pronouncing that right. Correct me if I'm wrong. Put in the comments. Tell me I'm a dummy. Plant your feet and square your shoulders to the enemy. Meet him among the man-killing spears. Hold your ground. In victory, do not brag. In defeat, do not weep. The ancients resisted innovation in warfare because they feared it would rob the struggle of honor. King Agis, A-G-I-S, again, I might be killing that one, was shown a new catapult, which could shoot a killing dart 200 yards. When he saw this, he wept. Alas, he said, valor is no more. The god who ruled the battlefield was Phobos, fear. That's interesting. This produced an ideal of manly virtue, Andrea, in Greek.
Yeah, the idea of it's more manly to kill your foe face to face than it is from a distance.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Nah, it doesn't make any sense. It's an ideology to teach your warriors whenever you don't have advanced weapons to give them, and they have to go fight somebody that may or may not have some type of advanced weaponry.
Yeah. Yeah. You're thinking of looking at your enemy in the eye and then killing that man.
Well,
That's
I mean,
a big difference.
you're also thinking Alexander Great. You're thinking that they're sieging and sacking cities. So you're trying to tell your men to bunch through this gate while they're pouring the molten lava and lava. They're not actually pouring lava out of buckets, but they're pouring hot water and everything else on them. You know, trying to burn them. Lighting them on fire. Everything else. Bows and arrows, and you're trying to siege and sack a city while they're shooting at you with bows and arrows, and you're trying to tell your people that, they're cowards. That's why they're behind that wall. Let's go ahead and take these coward city. It's a ideology and a mindset, and if you put that mindset into your warriors, you guarantee victory. So the same thing we were talking about with Ethos is when you put in those stories, those legends into the warriors, they develop and become that.
Yeah, it's all about training. It's all about training it into them, as it says, to counterpoise.
But it's a training of a mindset. It's building a fortitude. It's why no matter how much of a beating you saw Mick Foley take back in the day in WWE, you always thought he was going to pull that sock out and kill somebody.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Undertaker could throw him off the top of a cage, and you see him, bleeding and trying to stick his tongue through his lip, and you can see him trying to do that through his beard, and you still think he's going to pull out Mr. Sacco and win the match.
It's true. It just sparked something in my mind. Think about the evolution of cage fighting, of MMA. You look at those first brawlers that were in the battles. At first, these guys were wrestlers. Most.
Yeah, the Iceman, Chuck Liddell getting in there, and I mean,
even before him, Royce Gracie, he was fighting out of his weight class. And
yes,
he was fighting huge wrestlers.
Well, that's why Gracie's got his jiu-jitsu gyms.
He is, but and granted, those guys are no joke.
Yeah,
but over the time period, you didn't see spinning back elbows. You didn't see a lot of move into innovations for arm bars and neck bars and reverse chokes. All this stuff is now moved on in technology and moved about.
Well, the innovation. So whenever you do something over and over again, you're going to innovate, and whenever something works, it's going to be repeated. Mm. That's why there's more than one person who makes a Humvee. There's more than one manufacturer for the government to go to, because the design works for what it's built for. Not the most, not the best vehicle to go above 60 in, but for what it's designed for a vehicle of war that is relatively, maintenance friendly. I'm sure Derek would disagree, but for what it's built for, the same thing like we were talking about vehicles of war and my knowledge on aircrafts. I had no knowledge before I got in the military, but my knowledge on aircrafts and the vehicles of war that we have, the advances they have in them when they roll out a new one, it's like night and day between the stuff you were trying to do with the old one. And as you advance this technology, it makes it to where you need a more disciplined, or not even more disciplined, but a more educated warrior. I mean, you still need somebody who can, paint a target or be a door gunner or be that man on the front line.
Yeah.
But if the man on the front line now knows how to laser designate a target, he doesn't have to worry about going there and planting the explosive himself. The aircraft can plant the explosives from forever away.
Yeah. We're talking World War II, losing 300,000 soldiers to
now we have the technology to where we're putting
less people in
to where we're putting AIM-9 missiles or air-to-air missiles that we would normally shoot from a naval vessel to an object in the air. Like an aircraft would target something and they'd launch it from the naval vessel. They'll pass off the target. Now we're talking about we have the technology to put that rocket on an aircraft, and an aircraft's able to pass off a target to another aircraft. So a bad guy could be flying around and a telephone pole comes from 3 states over to take him out because another aircraft's the one who initiated the hit.
So
It's ridiculous
answer the question,
technology.
let's dissect it. The ancients resisted innovation and warfare because they feared it would rob the struggle of honor. Have we been robbed of honor?
Yes. In their definition of honor, you have been robbed of honor. The honor, the badge of saying that you are the one who took out. So the reason that we send in SEAL Team 6 to make sure that we take out the ideal target, right, is so that we have confirmation that we took them out. You can't get that confirmation from dropping a JDAM and destroying the complex. So which one's more honorable? Being part of the elite force that goes in and makes sure it gets done, or being the guy on the other end of pushing the button?
I think right now our honor is in that signature, and then that following through after MEPS. There's great honor
you
and knowing that you're going to go to some.
So you become a
Area.
warrior. You become a warrior
Right.
by the fact of joining the military. We joke on the Coast Guard. We joke on the Air Force. We joke on the Army. You know, we joke on all of them. All of them are a joke, right? But except for the Navy. The Navy's awesome.
The Navy's great. I mean,
They're all great. They all serve their purpose.
A whole lot. I mean, they mainly just do amphibious stuff. That's mainly what they do. They're not the ones.
So
they just made a great big movie about them.
So you're honorable, and you're an elite member
guys, don't get me
of.
wrong, any SEALs out there.
You're an elite member of
They're naval warfare.
America.
Sea
If
warfare.
if you join, if you become a service member, you're one of the elite, right? You're one of the, I don't know, maybe 3-4% of America, you know, that actually becomes a service member, right? So you're elite at that point, and you have a level of honor. But whenever we're talking about the same thing that they're talking about in that book right there, and their theories of the ancient way and the ancient value of honor, it is more honorable to be a gladiator in the pit and fighting than it is to be the king's guard with the bow standing next to the king.
Yeah, there's a difference in honor of that. I could see that.
And that's what I'm saying. There's a difference in honor. I'm not saying that the king's guard is not an honorable man who is doing a duty and has the foresight and the ability to be on the other side of that just because of where he was born and what he got going on, right?
Where is the struggle is at? Because the struggle brings the honor. Because if there's a struggle in the pits to daily fight someone and again, squared off hand-to-hand combat, there's honor in that.
Once again,
The blade of honor.
If I am standing here with a knife or a shotgun, it's more honorable to take out the bear with the knife, but I am not going to lose my life fighting a bear with a knife.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no honor in that. I think the saying I like the most is how fast you can run away from the bear, or how fast your friend can't run away from the bear.
Yeah. I've just got to get away from him faster than you.
I just got to outrun my friend. Don't get into the tripping part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, fear. So the god who ruled the battlefield was Phobos. Now, I didn't know this. I didn't know there was a god of Phobos.
Well, I mean, it only makes sense when we start
Phobia,
talking about
right?
these ancient technology. Oh, phobia, Phobos. Okay, cool. Now we're learning definitions of words here, or at least we're doing the Marine Corps math version of figuring it out.
Who says you're too old to learn?
We'll circle it with a crayon and come back to it.
If you don't eat it first.
Circle with the Google crayon.
Don't get your favorite color out and it gets eaten. Fear. Yeah, fear is... I think that has a lot to do with it. The fear, the struggle. In the face of fear, what are you facing and what you do after that?
But that goes back to the same thing as we're talking about with ethos, with the development, with the training. You know, when we were talking about the Medal of Honor, I mean, obviously you're in an area and you're in a spot where you fear something, but you're training and you're just your training, your devotion toward the person to the left and the right to take care of them and to do what needs to be done. And you'd hope everybody in that situation would do what needs to be done without even thinking about fear. You know what I mean?
You would hope so.
I mean, you're highly trained to do it. You're part of this elite percentage of people who decided you're going to join the military.
I don't know. There's been a lot of people who have been like ousted lately. Like some of these guys who have been in the limelight have pissed their pants and which was actual real accounts from the people that was in battle with them. I want to name no names right now.
Well, I mean, I'd like you to talk into the microphone as well.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. You're supposed to be helping me out. But yeah, you'd want the person next to you to be in the face of fear and in the face of the struggle.
Yeah, I mean,
and then do what's necessary.
You want them,
but you don't
there.
know that that's going to happen.
But that's why you go through the training with them, is so that you know them and they become as if a brother. And who would not sacrifice for a brother in that manner once they become that? So that's why the training is so important.
It is. It is indeed training. It's training. Yeah, it gets. I don't know. You're talking about into the elite forces of training. These guys that stack up and follow in the rooms, they're training every day. They're QRF and they're, they're doing. I mean, Army. When you leave your AIT or your basic infantry training and you leave, you might go to fort. So it's kind of you hope when you get into somebody and you meet somebody and you get to know them, they're going to get your back out there.
No, but like, who did you deploy with? Who did you attach to when you deployed? You were in engineering.
Those were different. Yeah, I was engineering.
So let's talk about what we know. Let's not talk about theories. Let's use what we know. I'm not interested in hearing theories. I'm interested in the fact that people calling us out about what we said and we know.
Oh yeah, no, I can be called out for what I say.
That's what I'm saying.
And whoever I served with would back up what
always.
I say.
Yeah.
So I'm not.
So let's relate what we're talking about to our service.
For me personally, attachment to in the battlefield wasn't groups of guys that were stacked up going in the doors.
Of course.
Well, combat engineers, like I was saying before, is an attachment for security forces.
Okay.
I'm moving up and down through Iraq. In close contact with Iraqi civilians, protecting forces that are moving back and forth. So, I had fear. There was fear. So I had to make a choice of the day-to-day when you're in it, and if it's a hot day or if it's a long day or whatever's happening, and you've gotten past that real idea that you're there and the next bullet could be yours. You just really, I was tested with it. And for me, I didn't piss my pants.
I hear you.
I wasn't pushed past that part. So if you want to know about whether or not I went through a struggle out there, yeah, there was a great deal of struggle, and being put up against fear on the battlefield.
I hear you, man.
We're talking generally.
We're talking ethos, man. We're trying to keep it tied to what we're talking about, right? Mm-hmm. So we want to talk about us. We want to talk about ethos. We want to talk about the preparing the people to the left and right of you to go into battle. How do you build that ethos? How do you build that togetherness? How do you build that?
I didn't build it at the unit that I was with. I didn't build it until I got attached to other units.
Okay, but you have to have some type of attachment to them before you go into a theater of operation with them. Even if you meet them in that theater.
Oh, I would agree with you. 100%.
Okay, so from your experience, how do you develop that?
Training.
What type of training exercises were y'all doing that developed that type of ethos to make sure that y'all were a tightly bound unit? Now, I understand that there's a loose screw here and a loose screw there, so there's a soldier that doesn't quite meet par, and whenever they get in a grinder, they're the ones that crack. Cool. I'm glad you cracked today, because you cracking today means you definitely would have cracked on me down the line. I got it. Mm-hmm. You know.
Yeah.
But we're talking about by the time you deployed, you were in the Army for 9 years. So you are a leader of men at this point. So you're training the people around you to do things, and you're attaching the units. And when you attach the unit, you have the rank to where they automatically grant you this level of respect, because they grant you the respect until you prove that you don't earn it.
Maybe for you, I hadn't quite earned the rank yet. I'd earned the reputation.
Okay.
Because I had the leadership skills and qualities when I...
Well, talking to the mic and tell me about it.
Well, that's what I'm doing. You want it in my mouth? You want me chewing on it, dude?
Yeah,
Sure,
man. Yeah,
no,
man.
I bet you do.
You're like a foot away from the damn thing.
I think we've went over this. I'm in the microphone. I think you can hear. Let me adjust it towards myself because before you become.
There you go.
For crayons begin slobbering out of your mouth over there. Is this better?
Yeah, it's a lot better.
Okay, you're happy now.
I'm gonna stay there
I'm happy if you're happy.
as long as you don't run away from the microphone.
Said I would develop over time.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to develop you.
You ain't trying to develop. You don't have to develop me. You develop yourself.
You're here talking about you have a reputation. A reputation is to be too soft.
So your rank pushed into it. So you have a different experience than I have. So the experiences that I have, and I think we've learned from mine, is that I was out. I don't think you were out running the streets of Iraq or any of your missions. I don't know. For me personally, I know that we all experienced fear, pain, and danger. For me, being prepared in my first unit, there wasn't any. I was trained for explosives. I was trained to set C4, to find mines, to detonate mines, to anything to do with explosives and training. When I went through my training in Leonard Wood, the training for my MOS changed later. The Army changed it back to another division and where soldiers were going strictly just for heavy equipment operator. My unit that I attached to before my deployment was not in a constant training of what my field was for. I was one of the few combat engineers that was in my unit. So it was sucked for me really because I was looking for that and I yearned for that. But I didn't get that. So who am I going to ask? I'm going to question. This was an engineer unit with line dogs and line engineer units that had a combat engineer in it. The engineers that were training were right across the wedgeway there where I wanted to go, but I couldn't be released because of my experience and because of the knowledge that I did have. I was told that quite often, and I asked quite often. Because that's all I wanted was training. That's all I wanted was more and more and more, all that I could get a hold of. Air assault, infantry, airborne, what did I say, air assault? Yeah. Air assault, airborne, sapper. I wanted any of that. So my first unit that was rapid deployment wasn't in the training phase that matched my training and my MOS. So that sucked for me. So,
okay, so that was 4 minutes ranting about you can't relate. Cool.
So anyway, the first year spent there was really me going, is this it? Here I am. I signed up for a rapid deployment unit, and I'm high speed as anybody that you might want to know. So this is what I get.
Yeah.
Yay.
That's it. You get trained to a point, and then you have to be on standby around the clock, ready to roll.
Well, you said something earlier. You said about what kind of training prepares you to go into battle.
Well, that's what I was talking about.
Well, 12th engineers was right across the way. Those are the high-speed guys. Hua to you 12th engineer guys out there. That's where I belonged. But I wasn't there.
Yeah, but you've got, so the Marine Corps has a saying, you've got to blossom where you're planted.
Oh, yeah, I get that.
You don't get to choose the needs of your service. You don't get to choose the needs of the Army.
Unless your seed lands on a rock.
And then you have to grow. The same as a cactus finds a way to grow in the damn desert, man.
Well, yeah. No, I can't say there wasn't any growth. I'm just saying there wasn't any good amount of roots to put down if it was in my respectful way of putting it. It is what it is. But back to the ethos side, 12th Aviation is a great example. 12th Aviation went in and pushed the border with us. 12th Engineers had a great ethos. We saw them train every day. And they trained right up against each other. Yeah. They ran together. They pushed together.
Yeah, iron sharpening iron.
I learned what they were doing. They were learning more of, the CQB. They were learning the things that I very got little of it. And little to do with the people that I was serving with in my unit. Yeah. So, but 12th got it, and that builds the ethos, and that prepares you to go out into combat zone. So needless to say, I went into a combat zone feeling unprepared. So everything I learned just had to be straight from.
But tying it back to this, you felt more like a warrior because you were about to earn that honor because you weren't prepared to be.
I wouldn't disagree with that.
You weren't prepared to.
I wasn't going to back down.
Have the technical advantages of the rest of it because of the lack of the engineering training.
It kind of felt that way. Like I was in a unit where my training was a little superior. Yeah, because obviously I was moving out of my unit on a daily basis, being attached to other units. Yeah. So, yeah, I guess you're right. I did feel that, and I guess that's like counting the eggs instead of the glass half empty.
Yeah. Well, I mean that was you trying to bloom despite where you were planning with you telling me about the one NJP they tried doing with you not showing up to formation after you just got back from being outside the wire for a couple days and they're having a formation and PT runs and everything else. Like, dude, I just got in from outside the wire. I'm going to fucking bed. Yeah.
Lieutenants are just like privates sometimes.
So yeah, I mean,
I had to dress him down.
I hear you.
Hope you're listening to me on there.
But this is the situation I'm telling you about. Like you took a long story around to get to the part that basically your training, you felt inadequate at it because you got trained up to a point that you were trained enough to attach to a unit and assist a unit in what it had to do to be successful in what it's doing. But you wanted to continue training, and the problem is that they should have allotted you the ability to train with your unit in the capacity they need so you get aware of the people you're going to be operating with and also allow you the opportunity to go on extra trainings to advance your own skills so you can advance as a warrior inside of your specialty.
Yeah, we did, and that's 100% accurate. I mean, we did searches on getting, finding mines and,
I'm not saying that you weren't highly trained in what you did because obviously you went to a combat zone and you were in a combat zone for 12 months and you come back from the combat zone. So you were trained enough to execute the things that had to be done or you had enough training to
Can you call it
and common sense.
Training?
You had enough training and common sense to
100%.
Put 1 and 2 together and not end up in 6 pieces.
That's a compliment to me. I'm in a room of smart people, and I don't feel very smart. Thank you, Tim. I have my strengths, and maybe that is one of my strengths.
I hear you. So I'm glad we were able to wrap Ethos back all the way around full circle in this. You got any words of wisdom before we cut it off?
It is. For the guys that have trained together, it's a good strategy. Stick together.
Yeah, man. It's all part of iron and sharpen iron.
Cool.
Catch us next time.
Later. If you need more information on veterans benefits, please visit our website at vfwpost4224.org. That's Victor Foxtrot Whiskey, post4224.org. All of our contact information is in the description of the video. We now have a moment of silent prayer for those still in the battle, for our departed comrades, for those missing in action, and for those held as prisoners of war.